Hey guys, Strack here, and today I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks to help you get started in Bloodstained Hands. So I received a number of questions from different players just saying, that they don't know how to earn money or where to buy lockpicks or, they're struggling with combat, and I just wanted to detail a couple of things to help you get started with that so that hopefully you can have an easier time with the game. So the first thing, let's just get started here. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how to earn money. So there's a number of ways of earning money in this game. Monsters actually do not drop gold. I wanted to make a game that's a little bit different than the classic typical RPGs, and I didn't want to make a game where you could just grind out an infinite amount of gold from the monsters you fight. So the primary method of earning money in this game is actually from optional side missions that's offered to you by the assassins in the Sanctuary. So this is one of them. His name is Sanguine. He will offer you missions to go kill a target in either a dungeon or a town, and he will offer you a leveled amount of gold for completing that mission. So Fang's level 4 right now. He offers 100 gold per level, so I would get 400 gold. If I was level 10, I would get 1,000 gold for completing his missions. So he pays more than any of the other assassins, but he only offers gold for his rewards. The other assassin that offers missions is this guy right here. He runs a small shop. He also offers missions. His missions require you to go to a dungeon or a town and find an ingredient for medicines and remedies and things like that. And he will, if it's in a dungeon, you just need to find the chest that the ingredient is hidden away in. But if it's in a town, you'll need to find patches of soil and dig them up. And he will offer you a leveled amount of gold as well as a leveled medicine, remedy, and toxin. And the last assassin that offers missions is this guy here. He will offer you missions to break into a chest, once again, either in a dungeon or in a town. If it's in a dungeon, you just need to break into the chest. But if it's in a town, you need to find the house that the chest is located in and break into that house undetected at night before you break into the chest. And his reward is also a level amount of gold plus a random leveled weapon. So if you were level 10, he would offer you a random iron weapon. That's actually extremely useful on New Game Plus. If your equipment didn't carry over, you can still get high quality equipment from him because it is based on your party leader's level. So that's how you earn money. These three are the ones that you want to talk to, and they do pay really well, actually. You can start accepting missions from them anytime after entering the Saley Forest. And every time you discover a town or a dungeon, the places that you can go to complete these missions will include that place that you've just discovered. So they are completely random. They'll send you to just anywhere that you've previously been, and you can repeat these missions as many times as you want. They do also offer some side missions later in the game, but that is basically that's the primary method of earning money right there. I will mention one thing is that there is a point during the mission Bombs Away where you'll be sent to Amathine and you'll be stuck in the city until you complete the mission. You won't be able to return to the Sanctuary, so you won't be able to collect missions from these guys, and your method of earning money will be hindered as a result of that. There is actually still a way of earning money in Amathine. This assassin right here, Sanguine, he will stow away on the ship that takes you to Amathine, and he will hide in the pub. He's not really hidden, he's just in the corner of the pub. So if you go to the pub in Amathine, you can actually find him, you can talk to him, and he will give you missions to kill a target specifically within the city of Amathine. He won't send you to a dungeon, he won't send you to any other towns, he'll just offer you missions within Amathine. However, because he's only offering missions in that one location, his reward will be cut in half until he returns to the Sanctuary. So it is still a way of earning money in Amathine, if you want to stock up on medicines and remedies or equipment. But it's not the preferred method. Preferred method of earning money is definitely waiting until he gets back to the Sanctuary and then taking missions from him then. So anyway, that's how you earn money. Next thing I want to talk about is lockpicks. I get a question quite often saying, where do you buy lockpicks? There's tons of locked chests in the game and I want to loot them, but I don't have any lockpicks and I don't know where to buy them. There's actually two places you can get lockpicks in this game. They're both in the Sanctuary, they're both in this room. So if you talk to this guy and accept a mission from him, he's the one that sends you to break into a locked chest somewhere in a town or a dungeon. If you accept a mission from him and talk to him again, he will offer you lockpicks. Now you can take as many as you want. You can take 99 if you want, or 10, or whatever you want. But the thing is, his mission reward, the gold part of his reward, will be reduced by 5 gold for every lockpick you take. So if I take 10 lockpicks, my reward from him is going to be decreased by 50 gold. It is possible to lose your entire reward by taking lockpicks from him, and in addition to that, if you do lose your whole reward, he will not only take back, he will not only reduce your gold, but he will also take back whatever lockpicks you borrowed from him. So while this works, it's not the preferred method of getting lockpicks. The preferred method is actually to talk to this guy here. He offers you missions, but he also runs a shop, and when you go to that shop, he offers items like toxins, shuriken, smoke bombs, and lockpicks. They're pretty cheap, and they're well worth it considering what kind of loot you can get from the chests in this game. You probably don't need 99, but it's definitely worth it to invest in them. By the way, if you're not sure how to do lockpicking, this chest right here actually offers a lockpicking tutorial as well as the ability to practice your lockpicking. And while you're practicing your lockpicking against this chest, your lockpicks will not break. So you can get used to the system, you can figure out how it works, and you don't have to worry about burning through your lockpicks. So anyway, that's money, that's lockpicks. The last thing I want to talk about here is battle settings. And actually, before I get into that, I just want to briefly touch on one thing here, and that is the guide. So the guide will actually go over a lot of detailed aspects of the game, including combat and battle settings. So under combat here, if you go into weight gauges or weight modes, you can actually learn about how to adjust battle settings, but I will go over it myself here. But there's also something here that the guide talks about that I get questions about quite a lot, which is controls. So sometimes players are saying, like, you know what, escape says that you got to press this button to escape combat, but I do that and it does nothing. You know, what's the deal? The reason for this is because RPG Maker VX, which this game is made with, has a weird system where if you change the controls in one game made with the same platform, it changes the controls made with all games made with the same platform. Maybe there's a way to fix that, but I have not figured out how to do it. To fix that, I basically just added a section in the guide for button assignments and button functions. Button functions basically tells you what each in-game button does, whereas button assignments tells you which keys on the keyboard are assigned to those buttons and how you can change that. So that's the controls there. There's also a README file in the root folder of the game that goes over that a little bit more in depth. So definitely check that out if you're struggling with the controls. But without further ado, let's get to battle settings here. So under System in the menu, you're looking for these settings here. You're looking for battle speed and battle weight. Battle speed determines how fast your weight gauges fill. Battle weight determines when they fill. So the default is 100% and full weight. And these settings are great if you're focusing on your assassins because they can take more actions than any of your characters and oftentimes more actions than any enemies. Where this hurts you, though, is that your fighters and mages are going to struggle. They won't be able to get nearly as many actions off, and especially later in the game when some of the bosses have higher agility than even your assassins, your fighter and mage classes might not get many actions off at all, and they're going to contribute to the party a lot less. So I'm going to show you an example of what these battle settings are like and what they really do, and how changing them can really make things a lot smoother for you. By the way, if you're wondering why there's buttons on the screen, it's because I'm recording this with the mobile emulator JoyPlay instead of on the PC. So let's take a look at the default battle settings. Now what you'll notice, I'm going to attack with Marissa here and watch the weight gauges of the bat and the crab here and just see what happens when Marissa's attacking. Nothing. They don't fill at all. So the moment an action is queued up, those weight gauges stop, but also while animations are taking place, those gauges still aren't going to fill. So that's fine, but where does that really hurt you, especially in the early game? I'll kind of show you. One of the things that this does is that if you're trying to escape combat, I'll show you what happens when I try to escape combat here. Watch what happens to the escape gauge. Every time an enemy takes an action, that gauge stops filling. This hurts. I mean, that's what, 6, 7, 8 attacks, 9 attacks, 10 attacks, 11, 12 attacks just to escape combat against 2 little birds. Not worth it. So what happens if we adjust that? If we adjust the battle weight, I'm going to show you what happens when we set the weight just one level down to actions and adjust the battle speed. So you can adjust the battle speed by 1% using the left and right arrow keys, but if you hold down the dash button, which the default for that is shift, you can actually adjust it by 10% at a time, and you can do that for all the settings. Pardon me there. So I'm going to set it to actions with a battle speed of 30, and I'll show you what the difference is for that when you're escaping, and then I'll actually show you what the difference is when you're in combat as well. So when you're escaping combat, even when enemies are taking actions, that escape gauge keeps filling. So as opposed to 11 hits, I took 2, and I think they missed them. So it makes escape so much simpler and so much easier. There is a point in the game where the battle settings will reset to the defaults during training, and it's to show you how effective certain skills can be even on higher weight settings. So you may need to reset them after that point. But yeah, having a more active weight mode makes it so that escaping combat is actually so much simpler. As a matter of fact, you can do certain things to kind of cheat the system a little bit, where if you trigger a skill while the skill is playing the animation for that skill on your own characters, enemies won't take actions and you can actually escape while that animation is playing. That was kind of a bad example, but it works better, especially later in the game. But what does this actually do for combat? So we've shown how it can affect the escape gauge, but how does it affect actual weight gauges? I might need to go to a little bit more of a difficult place here because, yeah, I'm gonna just about one-shot everything here. So I'm just gonna head to the forest here to show you this. But basically what the more active weight gauges will do is that it'll determine when those weight gauges stop filling. So with full weight, even when animations are playing, those gauges aren't gonna fill. But when you set the weight gauge to actions, it'll stop filling when there's an action queued up, but it won't fill, but it will continue to fill even when an animation is playing. So I'm gonna just show you here. I'm gonna attack with Marissa and watch what happens to the weight gauges while she's attacking. They keep filling. Even when enemies are attacking, those gauges keep filling, which means that it's going to make sure that your mages and your fighters and slower characters get off a lot more actions in that time. So it's well worth it to play with these settings, figure out what works best for you. I would definitely recommend that if you're going to use a more active weight mode, adjust the battle speed to lower the speed a little bit. It's going to make things a little bit more manageable for you, but there may actually even be some times, I can think of a couple late game boss battles where you might want a full battle speed and a fully active weight mode. I would not recommend it early on, and I'll just kind of show you why, because it can be devastating. But yeah, just play with these settings, figure out what works best for you, and it's just going to make your life a lot easier. So with that full weight speed, I'm just going to take a ton of hits from this ant until I die, or until I kill him. So yeah, definitely want to lower the battle speed if you're going with a more active weight mode. But anyway, that's how to earn money, that's lockpicks, that's the guide, that's battle settings. Let me know if you liked this video. Let me know if you want to see more things like this. I'm thinking of putting together a couple videos to help get through, show how to get through some of the more difficult dungeons. But anyway, thanks for watching and happy playing.